Number 1, the directions say to solve for W. And you guys were right off the bat pretty overwhelmed by just all of the variables. But solve for W just means get W alone. We're going to rearrange to get W alone. Alright, so solve for W just means get your eyes on W and do opposite operations until it's all by itself. The first thing to get away from W is this fraction bar. To get rid of the fraction bar, I would multiply both sides by h squared. It's being divided by h squared, do the opposite of divide and multiply. So now it looks like h squared times the big B equals 703W. And you only have one more step to get W alone. This is multiplication. The opposite of multiply is divide. Divide both sides by 703. H squared times big B divided by 703 equals W. So here, they put the big B first, but this is equivalent. With multiplication, it doesn't matter the order. So the correct answer was C. Did anybody pick? Well, this is the exact problem, so as long as you pick the fraction, you got it right. Anybody have questions about that one? The answer was C. Right? And all of your answers are the same as mine. All in the same order. All right, number 2. For slope, you're doing rise over run. So on the at some point I have to make you guys log into the FSA website and go through like all the tools with you. But I think there's like a highlighter tool on the website, right? You guys are probably comfortable with it. I would pick 2 points. There's a point here and a point here. Remember that slope is rise over run. It's up 2 over 3. And you guys had to enter that in, right? Abby, have you got this one right? Yeah. You need to put your phone away. All right, number 3. All right, so when you're multiplying with exponents, you multiply the coefficients, and what do you do with the exponents? Anybody remember? I'm going to do 2 times 8 is 16. And then how do I consolidate x squared and x to the 6? I can add them. That's the product property. When you're multiplying the same base, you add the exponents. Wait, which one? 2 or 3? I'm on 3 now. Oh. Everybody on 3 with me? Oh, 2. How's that negative? Oh, what's that one now? I can go back. On this one? Yeah. I went from this point to this point, and I counted up 2 over 1, 2, 3. What points did you count? I think I went down, that's why. From here, maybe? Yeah, from there. You went down? So counting down, it would have been down 2 and then left 3. Which is still positive. And then did you enter into negatives? No, I entered in 1. So if you go left, that's negative. If you go down, that's negative. And 2 negatives and a positive. Okay, back to number 3. You multiply the coefficients and add the exponents. So we're at 16x to the 8th over 4x to the 6th. And you subtract exponents top to bottom, but we did it 2 ways. I said you could break this out every time. First off, 16 divided by 4 is 4. 4 goes into 4 once, 16 4 times. So I could write out 8 x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I could write out 6 x's. And each matching set cancels. So cancel, 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 cancel. I'm left with 4x squared. And that's the same as if I would have done 8 minus 6. Subtract exponents top to bottom. How many people got 3 right? Number 4. According to the graph. Alright, so I had a hard time. I wish this graph would have been on a grid instead of this blank graph here. So I'm tempted to do slope formula. Since there is no grid, I can't really tell exactly what's happening here. I have a point at 6, 7, 8, 9. I have a point at 0, 9 right here. And then down here I have a point at, those are going by tens, 60, 0. So maybe I do slope formula to make this decision. It would be 0 minus 9 over 60 minus 0. Negative 9 over 60. And those both reduce by 3. So that's down 3 over 20. This is going down 1, 2, 3 over 20. This ordered pair is 20, 6. And then it goes down 3 over 20. And this ordered pair is 40, 3. Down 3 over 20. And then we get at 60, 0. So the 3 is the y values, and the y represents gas. The 20 is the miles. Y's over x's. So this means that the tank of gas is decreasing by 3, while distance traveled is increasing by 20. Yeah. Did anybody get this one right? Going down 3? Yeah. Good job, you guys. And how many of you did all of this work to get to that answer? Just kind of looked at it and figured it out, right? You just, oh, you redrew it? Oh, so you can see it on your grid. Yes. Yes, using your graph paper correctly, you could have redrawn it, and that would have helped you see count the slope, the rise over run, instead of doing the slope formula. Next one. Which of the following equations describes the function in the table? So, rewriting this one on the board. I need to figure out, all of the options look like y equals mx plus b. So I want to know what the slope is. So I'm going to see how the y values are changing. Cameron, were you able to find slope on this one? 8 to 13 goes up how much? 5. 13 to 18 goes up 5. And 18 to 23 goes up 5. So I know this equation has a slope of 5. The y's are changing by 5 while the x's are changing by 1. How many of these have a slope of 5? A and C. So we're going to have a 50-50 shot of getting this right because we figured out slope. So the other thing we have to figure out is what would the y-intercept be? So I drew my table with some space here because sometimes I like to work backwards to find y-intercepts. So in So if I wanted to work backwards, like if x was 1 here, I would think the other way and I would arrive at 3. And if x was 0, I would go back 5 more and I would be at -2. So when you have these tables, and I've seen them quite a bit, try to follow the pattern backwards to find your intercepts. And at all y-intercepts, x is 0. Anybody got that one right? Does anybody have a question about the way I figured it out? Is there another way to figure it out? Is there another way you want to know? Yeah. You could do slope formula between these 2 points. Like this would be x1, y1, or even the first two, x1, y1, x2, y2. And that would give you slope, 5. And then you could plug in, let me show you. If I did this is x1 and this is y1 and this is x2 and this is y2, I would have 13 minus 8 over 3 minus 2, which is 5 over 1. One thing we talked about in class is plugging in a point. So we're going to plug in 2 for x and 8 for y. So I would do 8 equals 5 times 2 plus b. We did this in our review assignment. 8 equals 10 plus b. Subtract 10. -2 equals b. Who likes that way better? Plugging in an x and a y instead of extending that table backwards. Plugging in x. You did this work up here? Yeah. That's so weird. Yeah, like if this was like 10 or something, going backwards so much. Yeah. All right, number 6 says, what is the slope? And this is not slope-intercept form. This, as it's given, is called standard form. So if it was in slope-intercept form, we would know that the slope is the number in front of x. So you have to convert it to y equals mx plus b. So you have to do the work to get y alone. Reorder it. Get y alone. And the number in front of x is the slope. So I would, let me put my line in here. I'm going to minus 2x from both sides. And so negative 5y equals negative 2x plus 10. And then divide by negative 5. So y equals negative 2 over negative 5x plus 10 over negative 5. Y equals 2/5 x minus 2. Is this equation rewritten? So now I can say with confidence that the slope is 2 over 5. There's another way to do that one too if you graph it. Let me go over how to graph this. You can graph using intercepts. So in standard form, we practice graphing using intercepts. At the x-intercept, y equals 0. And then for the y-intercept, x equals 0. So you're going to do it twice. We're going to do 2x minus 5 times 0 equals 10. And then 2 times 0 minus 5 times y equals 10. Remember doing that, Akeem? Remember doing this? Where you plug in 0 for one and find the intercepts, and then you plug in 0 for the other one and finding the intercepts. If it's in standard form, you can always find intercepts and graph that. So 2x equals 10, x equals 5. This way I'm showing right now. Y equals negative 2. So I could draw a graph with these intercepts and count the slope after. I'll draw a graph right here. So this is 5, 0, negative 2, 0. And then you can count the slope was up 2 over 5. So in standard form, plug in zeros. So you guys like doing that more than having to rearrange and get YLM. Who likes the first way better? Thumbs up. Who likes the second way better? Thumbs up. Plug in a 0. Okay, that was even math. Either way, remembering to plug in zeros and find intercepts is valuable. And that'll be on your exam. I wish I could just record this one. Okay, we did this problem. What was it? We were talking about stopping at the taxi driver picked up somebody, and we drew this. Remember, taxi driver stopped for 3 minutes, then gradually increased, drove steadily, stopped for 10 minutes. Remember that? Okay. Guy keeps track of the amount of water he uses. He finds the less it rains, the more he needs to water. The summer has the 2 driest months, June and August. So for June and August, he needs a lot of water. I'd make a note on here, and it's too bad that you don't have a paper-based text. It's harder to make notes, isn't it? But so dry months, June and August. I would make a note that June and August need more water because they're the driest months. It rained heavily in September. September needed no water. Which of the following graphs show this? So right here in this first one, June and August, he used his sprinklers all the time. September, no sprinklers used. The water usage is his hose. You know? Who got this one right? Well? Were you guys tempted to pick this one, like exactly the opposite? Yeah. This is actually a graph of the rain. You know, rained a lot, did not rain. But the question is asking about how much water did he need to keep his grass healthy, not how much rain came down. Okay, function rules. Function rules. This is something you might want to highlight. Ruben, did you remember this function rule? Remember this? For each x value, yeah, you can't repeat them. There must be only one y value. That's the rule we're checking for in these tables. So, Cameron, did you get this one right? No? So here, this one, letter B, is a rule breaker. Letter B is not a function. I'm going to remind you of the mapping we did. You guys were really good at doing mapping. It was like this, and this, and x and y. So I would put my x's here as 1 and 2, and my y's here. And I would draw a line. 1 goes here and here, not a function. 1 can't get with 2 y's. Not a good relationship. And 2 goes here and here. This is not a function. X should only be matched up with 1 y. A nice committed relationship. So if you look at the rest of these, the x's are all different. This is the only table where it showed x's repeating with different y's. Not a function. So when you read a question asking about not a function, I do encourage you to draw a mapping. These are the easiest way to see it. Ideally, the question would give you a mapping. Who knows what's ideal? All right, number 9. I thought this one was probably the easiest question. When you really break it down. There's 60 students going on the field trip from 3 different classes. So we got Hooper's class, Gomez's class, and Anderson's class. Make 60 students total. It says Hooper has 24. Gomez has 18. We don't know how many Anderson has. So it's D. Did you guys get that one right? Okay. Next one. Ruben, you need to put your phone away. Ruben, did you get 9 right? Okay. Good job. In each problem before the answer. Oh, I had to write these out. Number 10 is right here on the board. So this is foiling. It says match to the appropriate. I wonder if I can see the answers. You got both of these? How'd you match them? There was like 4 options, right? And you had to pick from the 4? There was 7 options you had to pick from. So they're trying to like mimic a multi-select, but remember we're foiling here. 2x times x. 2x times -5. Do the first and then the outer, distribute the 2. And then 1 times x. And then 1 times -5. How many of you guys like these straight up math problems more than all the reading? And just wish it was just straight up math through it instead of having to figure out what all these words mean, right? So 2x squared minus 10x plus x minus 5. 2x squared minus 9x minus 5 would be the first one. And then this is the tricky one. This is the one that more people will get wrong than right. This one is very tricky. It is not t squared plus 16. You must FOIL, and everybody forgets it. You must do the first, the outer, the inner, the last. So you have to write it out side by side and multiply this binomial correctly. How many of you all got tricked by this and wrote t squared plus 16? Very likely trick. It's just so easy to do. This is going to be t times t times 4, 4 times t, and 4 times 4. So it's actually t squared plus 4t plus 4t plus 16. Everybody correct that. Everybody correct that. Even Algebra 2 students do that wrong. Yeah, this second one on number 10. It's very similar to this, you know, it's just more difficult.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to take geometry and stopping.
You have to get 4 credits, but you can, everyone probably will take Algebra 2. You gotta get 4 math credits. What are you gonna do, geometry this summer? You have to do geometry before algebra 2. Yeah. Number 11. Yeah, do one over the summer and make your life easier. Get a credit. You have to do it anyway. Sorry, I keep doing this. Gosh, we're on number 11. Oh, I'm going to stop actually right there. You guys be quiet. Be quiet. Let me talk about this. So on this column here, it tells you the page numbers in the textbook. So if you keep